Yay! We are here again. We are back again. Thank you so much. I can see people already waiting. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. Welcome and thank you, everybody who is already here for this session. Please, before our speaker gets in here, share the link everywhere. Let people know that something great is happening. Today is our last session and last day in this pilgrimage that we have come in the past 6 days. And there will be outpour of blessings, outpour of mercy and grace on this platform in this whole session, especially at the last session where we'll be giving the final blessing. So thank you again for joining. Thank you, everybody. Welcome again. Our next session is starting in a moment with Professor E. Ituma. Prof is my own personal prof. And I'm going to be sharing a bit about Prof at the end of his session, because I would like to do that because I like to tell people about what relationship is and what relationship can do in anybody's life. But many times we underestimate it and just use, people at the time when we need them and drop them off, or our values contradict and we don't even know what our values is or what the values of the people that we're putting in our circle is, and we cannot really build relationships. Relationship is one of the things I explained so much in my book, Life Begins from Childhood, because relationship will cost you everything in your child if you do not build relationship with the child. Relationship with your child is where your child will also get to build other amazing relationships that he or she will have in this life. So it's something that is so key in parenting. Relationship is the foundation of everything you will be doing with your children and everything you want to do with them, to be able to have access to their life and in their life to impact and influence them as they go in their life journey. So Prof is coming in a moment, and when he comes, you already know that we've not been streaming um bio in the past 2 days, yesterday and today, because of the issue that I don't even want to look at and I don't even want to talk about it, because these are the things that happen to us in life. Life happens and then you take a new turn. So ability for you to be able to, carry on despite what has happened to you is what shows, or to the extent where you can achieve results. So resilience is part of the thing we are discussing and getting in with our children. So it's important we note all of these things. So Prof is here and we will be bringing him in a moment. Brave him with an emoji of love. Shower him with love. Shower him with emoji of love. You know that me, I'm interested. I love sharing love. So everything in this platform is about sharing love. So, ladies and gentlemen, make welcome Professor E. Ituma. My prof is here. Yep, 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 yep. Hello, Prof. Can you hear me?
Yeah, thank you so much, Vivian. I'm happy to share in your practice parenting and all that you've been doing over the years. I'm quite excited at this year's
Thank you,
conferencing.
sir.
I'm happy
Thank,
to be here with you.
thank you, sir.
Greetings.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. So, a bit of you have been read, and I will be sharing my own personal profile about you. That's my personal. The one that they see on the internet is the public profile. I have my own personal profile, but that should be after your session. So, the floor is yours. You can take it up from here. The session, it has started already, and then the next time you see us, you'll be rounding up. Thank you so much, sir, for being here. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Vivian. And I want to appreciate everyone who is watching me at this moment. And I'm quite happy. Well, I just have to confess that I've been extremely busy over the few weeks. And in fact, I left Lagos to Abia State this morning to give my daughter in marriage. I just had to sneak out from the
Yeah.
wedding ceremony, which is still ongoing even now. As soon as I
Amazing.
handed over the bride, I ran out. Incidentally, I've
Amazing.
not really prepared as I should because of this engagement at
Yeah.
Lagos. I worked at Lagos, at University of Lagos, almost 24 hours for this past 6 days. So it hasn't been easy with me. All the same, I just pray that
Amazing.
I won't be disappointing the audience. Thank you so much.
Amazing. Thank you so much, sir. Thank
Yes.
you.
Well, so we can still go on straight. We could now go straight into discussion, and we shall be looking at the topic proactive parenting in a Western evolving African society. Next couple of minutes, I want to assure you that we have achieved something. Proactive parenting in a Western evolving African society. Proactive parenting means that a parent is acting in advance to deal with expected challenges or difficulties of parenthood. Parenthood, of course, is a state of being a parent. You address challenges even before they come to you. That is proactive parenting. And of course, we talk about proactive parenting in a Western evolving African society. That is parenting that considers the socio-cultural situation of Africa, considering the socio-cultural situation of Africa that draws from the traditional setup as well as heavily influenced Western lifestyle. We are discussing a situation where the African child is both an African as well as a Westerner. That is the situation we find ourselves. What we are saying, in effect, is that the African child obtains from the Western world. He also obtains from his traditional setting, and both are impacting on the African child, and in fact, regulating this African child. That is where we find ourselves. In training the African child, you need, because of these influences coming from both sides, you have to train an African child taking into cognizance the Western influence that is on him, the African mindset that is already in him, what concept they will call a little to the left, a little to the right. Well, we will explain that little to the left, little to the right as we advance on. But proactive parenting in a Western evolving African society is an active in advance, in anticipation, acting in advance, in anticipation of a challenge from the standpoint of a Western evolving African society. It means you must put so much in place to ensure that the child grows up being a responsible child. The essence of parenting is simply to bring up a child that is responsible to the family and to the society. That is the essence of parenting. A child that is responsible to the parents, to the society, and of course to himself. But let me tell us something. In ancient African society, so much was put in place by the society to ensure that a child grows up a responsible child. And this was completely different from what you have in the Western world. Western world puts so much in place to ensure that a child grows up a responsible citizen of the society. Now, the Western world has its approach, different from the African approach. In the African society, for example, we believe in a communal effort. And there is the saying that one exists because the community exists. In other words, you are something because the society is something. And that will take us to a situation where a child misbehaves outside there, and maybe a parent who may not even know the parent of the child will just get up and discipline the child. And the society will be behind him, behind the parent, behind the discipline. The parents, when they get to know about the effort, will appreciate. It doesn't go that way in the Western society. If you try that in the Western society, you'll be arrested. In fact, the situation where, for example, there is you discipline a child at some point, even as a parent, you'll be arrested. In Africa, it doesn't go that way. Incidentally, we have what we call Western evading of African society, and that has introduced what we call rape of culture, cultural rape that has eventually brought into place what we call amorphous society. African society is at the moment addressing an amorphous situation where you wouldn't say it is Western, you wouldn't say it is African. You now have a hybrid, and this hybrid requires that you must train up the child in a way the child will become responsible, taking into cognizance this hybrid. If you want to train up an African child like a Westerner, you fail. You want to train up an African child like a core African, you will still fail, because there is what we keep on calling cultural rape. Cultural rape simply means that Western influence came into African society, undermining and destroying most things that we call African, and targeting them and tagging them fetish, even the very good virtues. For example, I give you this: you don't walk across an elder as a child without greeting the child, without greeting the parent, an adult. You don't try it. There are a number of things you cannot do before an adult as a child, whether your parents are there or not. The society will repudiate, reject such activities. Incidentally, when such activities are viewed these days, some of them incidentally are mistakenly tagged fetish, or given one pejorative approach, which is not the best. The chances that the African child will depend on whatever he sees in the society is very, very high. The chances are very high. And because the chances are high, parents must consider what is going on in the society. And what is going on in the society is an influence of Western culture in an African culture, which of course the influence is coming into place in such a manner that the mixture is not properly done. And because the mixture is not properly done, issues are being created. Well, in our local culture, I've told you already what obtains. Now, incidentally, there is a complication in Nigeria. The complication is so high that there are ways in fact, there are ways you will address a child. Ordinarily, as an African, it will be tagged verbal bullying. Even when you have not touched a child, it will be called verbal bullying. And when it is verbal bullying, you might risk being arrested or being sued. And but sometimes, even by the parents themselves, you find somebody who is addressing a child that has done something the way he's not supposed to do it out there, because it's not the parents. The parents, perhaps, when they heard that, might decide to sue you, and you'll be in trouble. And these are some of the things that have encroached into African culture, which you might find very difficult to apprehend. It doesn't necessarily mean flogging. In fact, flogging these days, you flog a child that is not yours, you are in trouble. You are in trouble. But then in the ancient African society, you can flog a child. You don't have a problem with that. The Western influence on African child is drawn from the television, is drawn from the school the child attends, is drawn from the peers, is drawn from even on the streets and in so many places. What the child hears, and so on. These all influence the child, and the child thinks that some of those things that he has seen out there are the best way to live a life or to practice. And at the end, you have some form of confusion. Not that the internal disposition of the child determines his actions as he grows up. What you have inside the child determines his action as he grows up. And let me say that beyond genetic transmission of traits, internal disposition is shaped and can be controlled. So it doesn't necessarily mean, well, since my father was a good man, automatically my child must be a good man. It's not true. It's not true. It doesn't work that way. Or if my mother was so brilliant, so the child must be brilliant. No, it doesn't work that way. Internal disposition of the child determines a lot his actions, and his internal disposition could be shaped and can be controlled. Incidentally, internal disposition, I've already said, he draws so much from the genetic transmission. He also draws so much from what he sees out there, and so on. I've talked about school, even in the church, whether good or bad, his friends, and so on and so forth. Proactive parenting requires that you bracketize growth stages. Pay attention to this. Proactive parenting in a Western evolving African society requires that a parent bracketizes the growth stages of the child. When you bracketize the growth stages of the child, it helps you a lot to act in advance. The way that the white man will act in advance is not the way the black man will act in advance. I've said it a number of times. For the purpose of this presentation, I have decided to bracketize the African child in about 6 different stages. And number 1 is what I call the age of innocence. You must understand this if you are going to take care of your child and you are going to produce a responsible child in the society, in your family, and to the child himself. Number 1 is the age of innocence. Age of innocence includes between the age of birth, from birth to 5 years. From birth to 5 years, we call it the age of innocence. You see, that's an age, that's the bracket, the age bracket you find a child. He smiles at everything he sees. He smiles, you raise your hand, he will smile. You bring down your leg, he will smile. And sometimes you frown, you begin to cry. That's all he knows. He smiles at everything, he cries at everything. He can smile in a moment, the next moment he's already crying. The age of innocence, it doesn't know anything. And then you have the second stage. The second stage may also have some encroachment into the preceding age. That is the age of exploration. The age of exploration includes from the age of 3 to the age of 7. Remember, I have said it will usually interlap. It will usually lap into the other. So the age of exploration is the age 3 to 7. And this is the age, the bracket, where everything surprises the child. The child wonders at everything. Everything the child sees, he keeps focusing his eyes to know what is going on. For example, you go into the restroom with your child. You are urinating. The child wants to know where the urine is coming from. He wants to know where the urine is coming from. He looks closer. He wants to know why the urine is liquid, why it is not solid. All those things. Sometimes he wants to touch it. He wants to know whether it is hot or cold. Everything surprises the child. That is the age of exploration. He keeps on, touching. Sometimes you don't take time. He's already getting closer to the fire. He wants to know how it works. And then you also have the third bracket is the age of incubation. That is age 5 to age 10. 10 years. 5 years to 10 years is the age of incubation. That is where the child begins to define the world based on the experiences of the age of exploration. He begins to define the world. If you let him know that the world is a mess, he just begins to form that. Whatever you give him within the ages of 3 to 7 is what he begins to form within the ages of 5 to 10. The age of incubation. That is where he's actually, in fact, it's a very dangerous age. Each additional bracket introduces some dangers. This age of incubation, year 5 to year 10, is where he begins to either see everything. He sees the father as a bully. He sees the mother as this and all those things. He sees the world, his friends. He can bully his friends. Sometimes then in primary school, he's fighting everybody. He thinks that's the way of life. And if he comes back to school, the clothes are torn. And say, what happened? This my mate tried to do this. I slapped him. He said, now, well done, my boy. You are planting a lot into his psyche. You are planting so much. Because this is the age where he's now defining. He thinks that's the way of life. And also that sometimes, even when you might be a Christian evangelist, your child also begins to pick things here and there. That's also the age. It's defining. And so you need to be a little more careful and give more attention at this age of incubation. Then we get to another very, very, I wouldn't want to use the word dangerous, but then if I use it, please permit me, I understand what I mean. It doesn't necessarily mean negative. And that dangerous bracket is the age of experimentation from age 7 to age 15. Age 7 to age 15. Age of experimentation. The child begins to try the events and activities that he has learned. It might surprise you that boys have their approach to life defined at this age 7 to 15. And that's also the age that girls define their approach to life. Their approach to life is now where they begin gradually expand. It might surprise you. There is a research has been conducted which says that 98% of African boys, 98% of African boys masturbate. 98% of African boy masturbates involuntarily at this age under extreme excitement. It doesn't need to induce masturbation. Under high excitement, he could masturbate. Very sensitive issues. 98% of African boys at this age of experimentation, and as he was masturbate involuntarily, he began to practice it too. Began to try and see how it works. It's a very horrible age. You see, well, let me use these words just to express the need for the African parent to be very proactive by defining these ages, because at each point in time, you require a different approach. You require a different approach. And it's also at that age that you find girls try to experiment a lot of things. There are a lot of small girls that have gone very wild within that period. Whether they are fighting, fine age that 7 to 15. The girl is fighting everybody. Sometimes it's even going after boys and just trying to experiment and see what is going on in the world. And then you have the age of rascality. The age of rascality is starting to age 18. Age 13 to age 18. 18 years. Having passed through the age of innocence, the age of exploration, the age of incubation, the age of experimentation, if the parent failed at this age bits, then the age of rascality or troublemaking becomes very difficult for a parent to control. That is where, in fact, why I call it the age of rascality is because at that age 13 to age 18, the child begins to think that the parents are intruding. The parents are intruding into her affairs or his affairs. Say, allow me to live my life. Allow me to live my life. I'm an adult. That is what you find. Age 13 to age 18. The age of rascality or age of troublemaking. Allow me to live my age. Please, I'm no longer a child. These are some of the expressions you hear from them. Please, I am an adult. And remember, it is also the age, usually, when you have in Nigeria, for example, between the ages of 16 to 18, the girl is just graduating, concluding his secondary school. So you see that at that age 13 to age 18, the child feels that he has arrived, but then the parents are still intruding so much. The parents want to control him, control her. The parents do not believe that he has arrived. He believes in himself, and that is where he now sometimes he leaves the house and he sneaks out and sneaks in, sneaks out and sneaks in, and you go after her, and sometimes if you don't take time, you malhandle the child because you feel that it's a small child. But at that age, don't be a small child, and that's why you find if you don't take time, that's also an age where you find some of them to a point where they even threaten to fight their parent. Age 13 to age 18. And of course, the last age bracket I'll present is the age of independence. the age of independence, age 16 to age 22. Age 16 to age 22. Remember, I said that the age brackets overlap. You don't have a clear-cut boundary. And depending on the society one finds himself or the genetic transmission, these are some of the things that will influence the boundary. That is why I've tried to say from this to this, and the preceding, the next one will encroach into the preceding one. So at this age of independence, age 16 to age 22, that is where you find the one you have always seen to be a small girl takes her bag and leaves the house. He has traveled without notice, without permission. Boys in particular do that at that age, and travel a distance. Somebody you are thinking wouldn't be able to travel from here to the next city has gone very far, about 5 states beyond where he belongs. You see why we are looking at the proactive parenting in a Western evolving African society is because many of us who have been so influenced by the Western culture, we have also been so influenced by African culture, which of course is fast eroding away. So much that we try to bring what they have taught us, Westerners have taught us. We want to bring it into the training of African child. By the time he gets out there, he gets more of the African, or sometimes he gets more of the Western world. At the end, that your method will not work. So you must be conscious of the fact that we are in a situation of complication, amorphous cultural situation, where everything is difficult to define, because we are battling to follow the African way, we are battling to follow the Western way. Let me, for example, when you find in the Bible, it says, train up a child in the way he should go, and when he grows, he will not depart from it. It's very, very important. The implication is that no matter which school you send your child, no matter which church, even if you want to, the child lives in the church, or the child lives in the mosque, or the child lives in the school, from nursery, crèche. Now you know, you find out that from crèche, a child can be out till he graduates from the university. Whichever way, just for you to know that you are responsible to the behavior of the child. Whether the child is responsible or irresponsible, you are still responsible. Remember the story of the schoolgirl at Lagos? They traveled, and then there was this the problem that had to do with sexual scandal. Remember that? I don't want to call names again, but remember that. The funny thing is that we are told that the mother said the child is 10 years. And the child, the funny thing is that the mother said the child was raped. And you look at the child that was raped, even her dressing, even what she posts in Instagram, at that age, already got an Instagram account and a lot of other social media, very active in social media. And some of the posts, you don't look at some of the posts and say that the child was raped, or you say that the child was misinformed in that trip. No, it only shows that the mother didn't understand the gravity of the problem of the child. The mother was not in touch with the child. That's the clear explanation of it. The mother did not in fact, she lost grip of the child without knowing it. So when you see what sort of things that the child posted, that will tell you that the mother lost grip of the child completely, perhaps very early. If at the age of 10, that girl had gone so wild, and the mother was there defending her, and saying she was raped. Some of us that carefully studied the situation, we simply looked at the woman and said, Madam, you didn't get it at all. So the Bible says, train up a child. So wherever you are taking the child to, it is the onus lies on you to train your child. If your child behaves fine, it is you. Your child didn't behave fine, you are the one. And there is this other Bible citation that says, and that's where you find controversial approach to some of us because of our Western influence, which says, spare not the rod or you spoil the child. There are stages you need to pick up the cane. You see, at each stage, there are sizes of cane. Sometimes you lift up the cane. You don't want to flog. The child is scared. Sometimes you flog. Remember, I've talked about the age of innocence. 0 to 5 years, it has its own size of cane and its own definition of discipline. The age of exploration, 3 to 7, it has its own style of discipline. The age of incubation, it also has its own style of discipline, which is the age 5 to 10. And the age of experimentation, which is the age 7 to age 15, it has its own style of discipline. Age of rascality. And in fact, if you have lost it in these other stages, the chances of getting it at this age of rascality will be very, very mean, very small. But then it still has its own approach, own method of discipline. Of course, at the age of independence, 16 to 22, age of independence, the child is still to be disciplined by the parents. Please, let me also emphasize, all discipline doesn't mean carrying the rod, carrying the cane. That's not true. That's not true at all. But then, at quite early in the stages, there are moments you have to carry the cane. And there are sometimes you look at a child, the way you look at him, you scare at him. He picks up, especially when you are going up the ladder. You are going up the ladder. And let me also tell us that the Nollywood is there, the Hollywood is there, and all the woods, they're all there. Whether you know it, you like it or not, in fact, you will now have them, even if you don't buy phone to your child, he will use the phone, his friend's phone, when he's out there. So when I hear people say, "Oh, don't buy phone to this child," it's too small. Well, I just laugh, because even if you don't get him phone, he will use it, whether I like it or not. Except if you cage him inside the house, which is very, very impossible. So it all means, so we have the social media is there. In fact, it's there tally. The learning modules now, both spiritual, the religious modules, education modules, all of them are now even inside phone. You find the ABC match, color match, all of them are now inside phone. So what are you talking about? So what we are simply saying is that the Western influence, you cannot condemn Western influence outright. It's not true. There are so many positive things we have got from Western influence. There are also a lot of very many positive things that are inherent in African culture, which cannot be thrown away. So what we need now is a balance. You bring this, you bring that, and you let the child know where he belongs. Let the child know his root. Let the child know why we do what we do in our culture, and all those things, all those virtues. Let the child know what they are and the essence of all those things. Incidentally, some of us think that when you are in the town and you let the child know that if he goes to the village, they'll kill him, everybody is a demon in the village, the child will grow up having that mentality about the village. And the funny thing is that the child believes that everything Western is good, everything African is bad. And of course, you know what the result is going to be. Let me tell you something. I worked in a village many years ago when I started my career as a priest. A young boy, they were just playing. A young boy between they were the age bracket that you find here in this play was between they were just playing in the compound between the age of 6 and 13. In fact, between the age of 6 and 10. Went to the parlor, got behind the door, saw the father's gun. The father was a hunter, loaded the gun without really, perhaps he may have forgotten, I wouldn't know what happened. But the boy picked the gun, had to target on his friend and shot the friend. When he shot, the friend died on the spot. After a while, he went back. Ebuka, get up. Ebuka is dead. Ebuka is no more there. Why did he get it? Did he let it from the hunter? He didn't. In fact, it was a high morning sick period in that village where I worked. I worked in Afikpo South, and that's where the thing happened many years ago. I worked there from 1990 to 1992. Real life, I saw it. There's something that he learned from the Western movie, Western culture, where everybody carries guns, but then doesn't know that over there is control. They will teach people how to do it with what is real and what is not real. We don't do it over here. And that became a problem, and it was a very, very big blow to the family. So what we are saying is that in parenting here in Africa, in Nigeria, you are going to be proactive? Yes. You must consider the African lifestyle, incidentally, which is being influenced at the moment by the Western lifestyle. You must take this into cognizance. So if you are the parent that want to see everything Western as the best, you will miss the mark. If they tell you don't raise your voice at your child, so from age 0 to 22, don't raise your voice, no problem. You miss the mark. If they tell you that no, you flog the child, because some of these things are getting into our head. You flog the child, oh, the child is wrong, it's child abuse. At what age? These are some of the questions you should ask. Unfortunately, they don't tell us that. Those who are influencing us, they don't tell us that. They don't tell us there's age of innocence. They don't tell you there's age of exploration. They don't tell you there's age of incubation. They don't tell you there's age of experimentation. They don't tell you there is age of rascality, and of course, the age of independence. And you just carry the whole thing hook, line, and sinker without asking questions. You are going to create more problem for the society and for your family as a parent if you go about it that way. Then, of course, you carry the African approach. In African approach, yes, there are a number of activities that are outdated. Yes, we know it. Some are outdated, yet a lot are still real, very active, very important. So it's all, as a parent, the summary of the approach as a parent is that, one, be conscious of the Western influence in African culture. That's what I mean by Western evolving African society. One, be conscious of it. Be very conscious of it. Proactive parenting in a Western evolving African society requires that the African parent must be very, very aware of this amorphous mixture, of this undefined mixture. You must be aware of it. That's number one. Number two, ask yourself, what are the positive African virtues that must be sustained, that must be imbibed, that must be retained. That's number two. I say it again, ask yourself, what are those African virtues? If somebody is telling you that everything African is evil, your name is evil, where you go to a village is evil, where even your food is evil, no problem. No problem. By the time you create problem for the society and the child grows up to believe that he must, everything Western is the best, you won't be able to control that because it doesn't go that way. So you must be able to pick out those virtues in Africa. Then you also be able to pick out those that are good in the Western culture and the ones that are not good. Tell the child that these ones are not part of it. It can't be accommodated in the African culture. So number one is understanding. Number two is now ability to understanding that there is an influence. Then number two is ability to pick out the good from this African, the good from the Western, and then be able to present them to the child. And of course, the last thing I want to say is this. At every stage in the life of a child, at every stage in the life of a child, let the child know that the future is bright. Let the child know that he can perform. Let the child know that there are so many good things ahead of him. In fact, the moment a child from one stage to another stage begins to accept that the world can be the best, we don't need to go to heaven to have the best on earth. The moment the child understands that, it makes your discipline easier. Recall, let me summarize by reminding you, for example, is it Osinachi, the singer who was manhandled by the husband. That's what happened. It was difficult to get the truth, even from the children, until the minister, who herself is a mother, a parent, God separated them. You know what she said? I read it, I saw her. She asked the child, your mother has always taught you that if you tell lies, it will not be good to tell lies. That's so. He said, yes. Now, your mother is dead now. Do you think she will be happy if you tell lies? You see, as she told the child began to realize that, look, if she tells lies, she is working, she's contravening the virtues the mother has, because the mother has taught her. And it was only at this point that the child, they began to open up one by one. They began to open up one by one. They will now begin to say what really happened. And what I'm saying in effect is this. When this minister, look, you know that your mother, if she's in heaven, she will not be happy with you, or you would go to heaven because you are telling lies. You won't look this, you won't be a good child, you won't be a good, because the parents had already told them from at each point in time that being good is good. And there are results and promises of being good. At this time, it was now easy to bring out the truth. So summarily, I want to say that please, as an African, be very proactive and be an African. And I want to assure you that we'll make a very wonderful society. Thank you very much for listening. I just hope that I was able to give you something which will help you in your proactive parenting. Thank you, Vivian, for inviting me. Even though I hadn't time to prepare, but at least I want to believe that the few things that I have said have at least made some impact. Thank you for inviting me. I wish you the best.
Thank you so much, sir. I said I would do an introduction of Prof, my own personal introduction. Because when people say a lot of things, the way Prof just dissected it and said, we throw away our roots. We don't find our core because we just want to take everything hook, line, and sinker that came from the Western world. Oh, everything is just the way it was said. And we don't find our core. One of the core of every human being is relationship. Relationship. And that's why I want to talk about Prof, personally. God did not create us to just live, independently, or I can be on my own. I don't want anybody, this and that. These are actually imprints of trauma, really. Things that we have gone through maybe in our childhood or growing up, and then our trusts were betrayed at some point by loved ones or probably parents, and people didn't, they who we should confide in didn't give us opportunity to confide in them, and then we break it at some point, and then we grow up to live this kind of life of no, nobody matters, I don't want anybody, this and that. Is a terrible thing. And then we now raising children are handing it over to our children, locking up the children. No, don't relate with anybody. People are evil. No, I don't want anybody to come close to them. As if you will follow these children everywhere. As if the life revolves around your home. As if they won't go to school, they won't mix with people. Unfortunately for you, no matter how you lock them, they will mix in the midst of people, and that's where the danger will come in, because influence must come, peer pressure must be there, no matter what you do. The question is, who is going to influence them? Will it be positive influence or will it be negative? And because they weren't prepared, they were always locked. No, don't relate with people. No, don't talk to people. Everybody is evil. They will shock you. And that's what I'm talking about, Prof. Prof is my own personal prof, like my own personal prof. I was tutored under him, mentored under him. 14 years ago, he was my supervisor in my BSc days. If I did not have valuable relationship with Prof, he won't be here today. Prof went home to give his daughter in marriage. He has been in Lagos since Monday. He has events that took him into Lagos since Monday, and he's been back to back. He doesn't have 1 minute to himself. And he left Lagos this morning, and he got to Abia State, where his daughter got married traditionally, and he was the one to give out the hand in marriage and everything. He did that and hurriedly, found a place to come and do this for us. It is because of relationship. And so when I teach people in the Build Your Home tribe, I tell them, don't say that there's no template for raising people. You are the one, you, the parents, are the one to create your templates for your home. Like Prof said, you are the one to create these values that matter for your home, for yourself first. You must have your values, and then as an individual, before you can now think of the values that matters to your home, that your children need to run with. That's being proactive. We can't just say, stay where we are and just be doing things, picking things everywhere, picking, things randomly. The same way our children are going to pick things everywhere. And then it will be a whole lot of mixture, like pros have rightly shared. It's such an amazing session, and I am grateful. I am grateful because just the way I'm taking him personally like my own, he has taken me also personally like his own. And I'm so honored. I'm so honored. You know why? These are people you cannot get. Like, I know how tight his schedule is. Like, I know how tight. You can't get him when you want to get him. It's not possible. Not today. Like 14, 15 years ago, it's been like that. And this tight schedule is where he would squeeze out his time, because someone he values said, please do this for me. And he's doing it, happily, notwithstanding. He's supposed to be in his daughter's Ibanko enjoying. You know what that means? They're doing party somewhere in your house, and you're somewhere seated to do something. Such an honor. Such an honor. So we need to start teaching our children what matters. How to build relationship is one of the core that we teach in the Build Your Home tribe, in the program I run in the academy. I'm so grateful, sir. I'm so honored. I'm so delighted. Thank you so much for doing this for me, for us in the academy, and for posterity. Because the internet is the game changer, and we live in the times of internet. So posterity will remember that you have done this for us over the years. I don't take it for granted at all. I do not take it for granted. And that's why I'm saying it publicly, because my heart is full. Thank you so very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you again and again. I'm going to look down to check if there are questions for you, because many times when the speaker have gone, people will say, oh, you didn't answer my question. Oh, you didn't do this. Okay, like we do, please send Prof Love emojis to say thank you. Already people are saying thank you. If you can see the screen,
Yes,
people are
I've
saying
seen a lot. I've seen a
people
lot.
are saying yes, you did a wonderful job and I got value. Yeah. People are already saying thank you, raving you on the comment section. Wow, all the comment section is filled with thank you so much, thank you so much, thank you so much.
Yes,
Yes,
thank you so much.
wow, wow, wow. People are raving you. People are raving you saying congratulations on your
Yes,
daughter's marriage.
yes.
Congratulations, Prof. People are raving you saying God bless you, God bless you. Shower him with love emojis. This is what we do. We are known for
I'm
sharing
seeing a
love.
lot of things. I'm seeing a lot of things.
So thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you for doing this for us and with us.
Thank
You
you.
know we'll always come for you. You know it.
Of
We
course,
will
and I'll be
always
available.
come.
I'll be available.
Again and again, I will always come because we are involving in Africa and we need to understand that we are involving. We need to know what are priorities for us and we need to find our core even as we involve. That's my message for people. We need to find our core. We need to find our core and, begin to live out our core. It is true that there are so many things like Prof shared that are endangering for us, that if we work with them, it's going to destroy us. And the other way around, on the other side, so we need to find our core. We need to leave, you know, a core message that posterity will remember us for. Is very key and is very important. So thank you so much, sir. Since people are just raving you, okay, someone said your session is explosive. I don't have any question. Okay, that's okay. That's okay. It's fine. So now that let's not keep Prof waiting so he can get back to the event that is happening in his home. Thank you, thank you, thank you. When the questions come, for people who will catch the replay, we'll also send the questions for you. But do not worry, if you're the Build a Home Tribe, you will see Prof over and over again. These are people, the gifting of men that I have accessed, and I know that I'm blessed for having access to these such gifts. When you have give access to the gift of men, you are truly blessed. So I know that Prof is someone we will continually have access to in our tribe, in our program that is in the tribe, where we have an inner circle parents who believe in the cause of working intentionality, being conscious, being deliberate, being proactive, so we don't get stuck in our journey by living in the process day in day out in our journey as parents of the 21st century. So thank you so much, Prof. If you're in the Build Your Home Tribe, do not worry. And if you're coming in 2023 to join us, don't worry, you'll have access to Prof again and again. So thank you so much, Prof. We'll leave you to
Thank you.
go so you can go and enjoy all the enjoyments that is in the house. God bless you. Thank you for being here. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Bye. I
Bye.
wish you the best, all of us.
Thank you, sir. So, people, it's getting hotter, it's getting hotter, it's getting hotter. Yours truly will be in the last session. Prof shared a lot of things, coming from different angle, which I understand very well. And that's why we are in the Build Your Home Tribe to break these things down, to break and understand our journey per time with our children. All those things he broke down, ages of children and different things are what is actually our core, why we have the Build Your Home Tribe, so that we can break our journey with our children in each of the ages where they belong to. So if you're listening to me, you may need to chat that number on the screen so that you can get details on how to register for the Build Your Home Tribe. The link for the registration online, offline is available. Registration is ongoing. It's something you can do. It's very doable to join us in the Build Your Home Tribe, so that these things that we hear in this conference and every other event we'll be holding that will look like overwhelming informations, we get down to the Build Your Home Tribe and begin to look at it and begin to break them down in the process and learn what it is that we need to do in this time. So thank you. As we end this session, please get ready. The next session will be coming up in a moment, and we'll be here to dissect all of these sessions. Yours truly will be the last person. I'll be the one to give the final blessing, like you have said. So get ready, get ready, get ready. Share this information, share the link everywhere. Let others know that there's something going on here. Thank you for being here in this journey with us and with me. I don't take it for granted. And I want to see each and every one of you in my session and get in everywhere, everybody involved in this journey. God bless you. See you again in the next session. Thank you.